And we are back on the DeadEnd Drive-In with a brand new summer double feature. Hopefully still summer when you're listening to this, but we got a little bit of a theme tonight. I'm Flesh Wound Dan, joined as always by Subjective Perspective Collective, Darren and Dirk. How are you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good. Start of the week, so getting in the swing of things pretty early. But yeah, good to be here, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
A day above the grass is always a good day. So
there you go. Yeah. So by the time you listen to this, summer will be maybe nearly over, depending where you are. It's definitely going to still be summer here in Georgia, but
there's definitely going to be summer here in the dirty swamp.
Yeah. We'll be bitching about the cold soon enough, though. So it's
oh yeah.
So I'm gonna try and enjoy fall weather. And before we get started, of course, if you're not sub to Subjective Perspective Collective, please do that. And I am, of course, Flesh Wound Features, and I'm on a whole bunch of stuff. So sub to it all, and also, just to do some promotion at the beginning, if you are a wrestling fan, check out Stream XPW, and depending when this airs, you might have seen some cool stuff, or you might still be waiting for it, but we'll see when this airs. But check that out, and of course, be sure to watch all the content here on Visited by Voices Network. So all right, so with that being said, we'll get into the movies tonight. And well, the first one is, we'll get into it, a little bit of a complicated release history with this one, but we're going to kick it off with the 1976 shot, 1981 released, kind of. We'll get into that.
Yeah, I saw something on that. It was released in 79 too, and I was like, what the hell? But like, so it was shot in 76. That would predate Halloween.
It is, yeah.
It does, yeah. So, it's kind of a proto slasher, Savage Weekend. 1976, 1979. It had a U.S. theatrical in 1981.
Okay,
and we'll dive into that a little bit. There's still a lot of questions with this one, but Savage Weekend from writer-director David Paulson. And in this film, a weekend in the country turns into a nightmare of terror when a killer wearing a gruesome mask stalks and kills the partygoers in horrific, grisly ways. Starring David Gale, Caitlin O'Heaney, William Sanderson, Jeffrey Pomerantz, and the screen debut of Yancey Butler, and directed by David Paulson of Schizoid fame. This is an early entry into the slasher genre, made in 1976, but not released until 1980. And all right, so Savage Weekend. So this was actually shot under the title The Killer Behind the Mask in 1976 on a $60,000 budget at the time. And it's well, we'll see how we like this one. I can see mixed opinions, but it is a proto slasher. It did come out much earlier in the cycle, and it's a very horny movie. There's a lot of
And there's another title too, Upstate Murders, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I was seeing that the director, he had an investor, but the guy pulled the money. They were planning to do another film, and he pulled the money, and then he only gave him $20,000. So then he come up with like another 38,000 or 40,000 or whatever, you know. So you could definitely see it, the budget in this one. But
yeah, the history of it, it's technically a Cannon film. Cannon gave it a very limited release in New York in 1979, and that was under the Killer Behind the Mask title, and then it expanded outside of the New York territory as Savage Weekend in late 1980. It was kind of a mess because it screened in the wrong aspect ratio, so people who saw it at that point were seeing visible boom mics all over the place. So.
Yeah, you see a boom mic every now and then.
I believe,
yeah, I've seen.
depending what print you watch, you might still be seeing that. It had a VHS release by Paragon Video back in the day and has appeared on many budget sets with a lot of public domain stuff. So it's how to describe this one? I mean, it is very spicy. There's a lot of sex, a lot of nudity.
Please as hell. Some of it shit don't make no sense though. I mean, there's this chick, she's gonna go suntan, so she gets all the way fucking naked, right? Like as you do, I guess, you know. And some dude walks up and just starts screwing her, and it's just like, okay,
she doesn't.
Not where I'm coming from, you know, but.
This one's really grimy though, isn't it? It's really gritty, like you say, sleazy. It's like perfect for this type of show with the grindhouse. You know, knowing it was like filmed, like shown theatrically as well. I was kind of surprised because it's really low budget. And yeah, I'll be interested to see what you guys think of this one, because this has been like one of my I can't say it's one of my favorites in terms of like
don't say that.
And, no, I would never say that. But I've always dug this one from the start. You know, I got the old UK like VHS release. I did get this like a really crappy DVD version, but I like the look of the killer. I like the mask. But yeah, this was public domain. It was on all those 50 sets, like Dan said. You probably could easily get hold of it now. But it's just got something about it. I don't know why. Maybe just the look of the killer, and I'm a sucker for slashers anyway.
I mean, I crack up watching it. I ain't gonna lie, it was funny as hell. Like the acting's pretty bad. Like, there's one chick, she's like overacting, like the lead chick. To me, it seems like she's overacting because she's very serious and shit. And then, like, you know, she's playing this role like she's prim and proper, but then she's hitting on some dude at one point, and then she's like, no, and like hits him with something. I don't know. It's fun. I could tell. I figured out the killer. I mean, it's not a mystery. Like
the red herrings are pretty obvious in this movie. It's pretty obvious where it's going. It's not all bad. Like, I wouldn't call this a boring movie. It's very surreal.
Not really.
For you Reanimator fans out there, the late great David Gale, there's an erotic scene that involves milking a cow. So there's a lot of just weirdness thrown at the screen. It's not all bad. I'm like, okay, this is all very random, but I mean, I don't hate it. It's kind of funny. Again, a lot of eye candy. Caitlin O'Heaney, which we'll talk about the cast a little bit. So it stars Christopher Allport, who had a very long career, very ironic end to his life. A lot of fans of the Jack Frost movies, the Killer Snowman films.
Jack Frost 1 and 2, right?
Yes, he starred in those two movies as the sheriff. And ironically, he died in 2008 in an avalanche. So he died in the snow.
God.
Very, very bizarre way to go out.
Strange. He was in Dead and Buried too, right?
He was in Dead and Buried. He was also in To Live and Die in L.A., a great movie, and lots of TV. He's very good in this. He plays a gay character, although at times even that seems a little bit questionable. But
man, that scene in the bar is just gold, man.
It's funny, but it's like you said, it's weird. Like, you know,
for 1976, kind of progressive, I suppose. Like,
he's supposed to be gay, but it's like he's attracted to the one chick, right? It seems like. But
it is. This movie's
it's fucking weird, man. Like,
very kind of bipolar. It almost feels like they just changed their mind in the middle of filming. That makes it unique too. I mean, like I said, it's not a boring watch. And Christopher Allport's very good. I mean, that bar fight scene, I'm like, I'm a little surprised this is a 1976 movie. Like,
yeah.
But what was those other dudes doing? Like, I was questioning them. Like, what the fuck are they doing? Like,
well, when they come up to him in the bar, don't they? At first, you think, where's that going to go? But
yeah,
because you've got the old guy playing pool, and but you can tell this guy is playing every kind of gay stereotypical thing you can imagine, like the way he's
right.
quite camp, and then the fight scenes in this as well. There's a few fight scenes that are just really bad, but you can tell they're choreographed.
But the two dudes come up to him and they're all like, it's almost like they're coming on to him in a way.
Yeah, that was the impression they give at first, and then
it kind of reminded me of that 48 Hours scene where Eddie Murphy goes into the bar. It just had that sort of fish out of water moment.
There's no way though. There's like no way that camp guy could take on all those though in real life if it was something like that.
No. But the line where he just goes up to the bartender, serve it to me in a pretty glass. So it's like this movie's ahead of its time. I was a little surprised to see that. But also, in addition to Christopher Allport, because this is a fairly notable cast, we get Caitlin O'Heaney, who horror fans will know for He Knows You're Alone, Tom Hanks' first film. She was also in Wolfen, a really good TV show, pulp adventure show, Tales of the Golden Monkey from the 80s. She's probably best known for the comedy 3 O'Clock High, and she came out of retirement and made an excellent werewolf movie in 2014 called Late Phases.
She's in that, is she? I've never seen that one.
It's one of the better modern werewolf movies.
And this one, she's a big old whore. She's the one I was talking about.
She is a big.
Do you think because there's a thing with this film that she's actually disowned it? She didn't acknowledge that she did this film, but it's surely because of that strip scene, that just goes on and on and on. But I know her obviously from He Knows You're Alone. I think Wolfen is kind of like an underrated. It's kind of a werewolf film, I guess. But no, she did this just to get her, I think it was just to get in the Actors Guild Association or something like that. Which makes sense. But I think she does okay in it. I think everyone does okay. But you go into
I know why you think she does okay.
Well, this is it. She is pretty good to look at. Let's be honest.
She is.
Yes. But I mean, yeah,
she's not bad,
and the gay character, I think the two standouts. I think,
the actors are game. I mean, they don't have the greatest material in the world, but like I said, it is interesting. And of course, we get David Gale, who is a fantastic actor who left us way too soon. Of course, Reanimator, The Guyver, The Brain, Sinjanor. He not a ton of genre work, but what he did was very memorable. And you see him in a very different role from Reanimator, so it might be worth that for you guys out there who are fans. Other than that, of course, we have William Sanderson, who we've talked about on this channel before, and early appearance from him too. He came into his audition in character. Apparently, he spit tobacco juice on the floor of the audition, which helped him land the role.
He's got some funny ass lines. Though. He's talking to his dead friend. Is it Clarence or?
Yeah, Clarence. Yeah,
his dead friend. He's got this old, fucked up tombstone, and it says "died," and it's spelled D-Y-E-D. On the tombstone.
Well, doesn't he? Go on.
He's talking to him, and he's like sitting there, like having a conversation with him, almost like he starts laughing and shit. So, like the red herrings, but the line where he's like, "I knew that boat wasn't gonna float. You put cement and chicken wire on it."
Yeah. So it's funny because there's a scene where he brands that girl with like an iron. And he puts a H on it instead of a W because she's a whore. Yeah. Oh man, I was crying when I was watching that, laughing, man.
I mean, it's just some funny shit, man.
It's good for laughs. It really is. I don't know. I mean, the slasher elements, and again, this is early in the cycle. I'm sure by 81 or even later, when some people saw this, it wasn't maybe graphic enough. and depending what cut they were watching, they may not have been seeing all of the softcore shenanigans in the film, but there is something entertaining about it. I don't want to,
That damn mask, man. It
Yeah.
reminds me
I
of the
don't know. I kind of like
mask
it.
in a Body Count, right? Is it Body Count?
Yeah, even the shaman.
Yeah, see, it's similar to
kind
that
of
in a way.
Yeah,
but
the whole film reminds me a lot of like Just Before Dawn. It's got that feel, and I know I mentioned that a couple of times with different films, but it just seems to have that gritty feel of like a Just Before Dawn or something. It's not as good, but you know, yeah, I don't know. I just really warm to this film.
Yeah,
Never gonna be. I'm gonna watch, every year or 6 months or anything else.
Yeah, I mean the lead chick too. That she's having a conversation with the what's her name? Heaney. What's her name?
Caitlin O'Heaney.
Yeah,
yeah.
She's
her character name
her,
is Shirley.
Shirley. Okay, yeah, she's giving her a hard time, saying that the stockbroker guys she's with corrupt, just like politicians. And she's like, she's got the line. She says, "He's not corrupt. He's warm and human, and I'm gonna try to love him." And I'm like,
some of the lines are great. I was reading some of the
try to love him. She's for that money. That's why she's hitting on the dude that's working all the logs in the back and shit.
Yeah.
I was reading the reviews for this back in the day, and there's some great ones. Like Candice Russell was the film writer for Fort Lauderdale, and she said it was strictly for wackos and sickness bags that should be given out on the watch of it. Another guy said from Pittsburgh Press, he said it's incoherent, illiterate, and inept. And I thought, I can't really argue that. And he said it was sexist as well on top. So, yeah,
it's all those things.
Yeah, I guess you'd say it's sexist, but I don't know. I mean, what are you gonna?
That might be the most fun part of the movie, though. At the same time, so
you'll have to watch it. Right?
I think people should, like slasher fans, I would say, watch it.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
There are better made slasher films for sure, but this one has something a little bit different going for it. Maybe it's just the sleaze. Again, the mystery aspect of it is not very good.
No,
but there's something there. There's something there. I'm not gonna say it's a good movie, but there is something there.
But how many mass killer films were there before this? Because this was 76, so you got Taylor Dreaded Sunday, and you got Alice Sweet Alice. I'm trying to think of more like where the killer dons a mask. There's not that many, really.
No, there wasn't like a massive glut of those at that point. So you can give it some points, I suppose, for originality, considering when it was shot.
I'd say, I guess you'd say, like Blood and Black Lace.
You've got the whole Giallo thing. Yeah, right. You've definitely got the whole Giallo thing.
Yeah.
But
it didn't launch anything, but
I'm sure there was ski mask wearing killers and shit like that. But it's hard to track it down, really.
It is, and this is also notable. First screen performance from Yancey Butler as the little girl who would go on to star in a lot of different things. Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme being one, and the Witchblade TV series. So she grew up and had a hell of a career, still working today. Another funny thing about this, William Sanderson has said that he took bits from this character and incorporated it into his iconic role of Larry on Newhart.
That makes sense, actually.
It does. And Caitlin O'Heaney, she's very open about not being a horror fan, but in an interview, she did say, although she doesn't like horror, she does appreciate the director and getting her SAG card because of this film. She tells a funny story about walking into her acting coach and telling him that she just signed on for a movie and mentioned that she was going to have to be topless, and apparently he wasn't too happy. He's like, "Are you sure it's not a porno?" It's very Very funny interview. She's a nice lady. She's honest. Not a fan of the horror stuff, but
I do. I mean, I understand a lot actors saying that, but man, so many of them say it. They're just like, it's like it's lowbrow shit, you know. But the ones that embrace horror, it always gives me good vibes when I see that from the ones that actually embrace the horror, man. Like, own that shit, man. You know, like, come on. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, only so many people are going to remember your stage work, which you did a lot of that. I mean, people are still talking about these movies, so they have legs. They'll probably outlive you. So, you know, there's something there.
Yeah, they're not going to remember, you know, Shakespeare or whatever the hell you did. But, I mean, the auteur people or whatever. But, you know, the slashers.
This has got, like Dirk was saying earlier, this has got probably one of the worst twists you'll ever see, because there's two scenes that completely give it away. I'm not going to mention them here, like, but because I want people to watch it, but it's just so obvious, I would say.
Definitely is.
It is, and I would say again, watch this one because it's a good 45, 50 minutes before it even becomes a slasher, anyways.
Yeah.
But it's not boring. Like I said, you get the bizarre, erotic cow milking scene with David Gale, so that might be reason enough to watch it. And this was popular enough and made enough of an impression. And I haven't been able to find this, but there is supposedly a fan film sequel to this. I believe it was called Not Another Savage Weekend that picks up 10 years later. Have to do some digging. It's not a recent thing, so I haven't been able to locate it. But
what I was really amazed about this film, though, that this thing was shot in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's what amazed me, like 3 weeks. And this is what you got. Like, I mean, because a lot of films don't get that, you know, like the lower budget stuff, you know. It was written in 2 weeks, but I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, it's not a horrible flick. It's a fun one, you know.
No, check it out. Watch it with friends, even if they don't like it. At least you'll have a fun time watching it with them.
Right. My wife checked out. She, you know, I try to get her to watch it. She's like, "No, I gotta go." And then
I was gonna say, there's no way Tasha was gonna give that.
And then my stepson come walking, and he's like, "What in the hell are you watching?" And it was that scene where dude's got the chick from behind and stuff.
Yeah, this is one to probably watch yourself or with a group of guys. Not for date night. But you know, it has some moments. I thought the chainsaw versus machete fight at the end was fun, and it's a great cast. So what do you guys rate this one? I know it's a tough one.
Right, so I'm gonna blow everyone's mind, because in the last episode I basically give Death Dream 5 out of 10, and I'm gonna give Savage Weekend 6 out of 10.
I thought you was
I'm not gonna be that guy who's gonna argue that Death Dream is like a worse film, because no, there's no way. But in terms of like what I like and that, I'll watch Savage Weekend like 5 in a row before I ever watch Death Dream again. But yeah, I'd say.
I thought you was finna say a 10. I was like, oh shit.
Oh no, I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. But it's a solid 6, you know. And I'm probably being a little bit over generous, but like I said, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for this film anyway. So
right.
Okay. What about you, Dirk?
Yeah, for me, man, it's like I said, it's a fun one. It's entertaining. I'll watch it again. It's funny. It's more funny than anything to me, though. Like the bad act and all that shit. I got to give it a 5, though. 5 out of 10.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a 5 as well. It at least gives a reaction. It gives me a reaction, which is laughter, and that may not have been the intent, but you know, I'm not staring at my watch, so there's that. Fun cast.
Bored. Yeah, not boring at all, for sure.
And it's like 80 minutes as well, because if like 80 minutes. But I did, before you get off on the film, I was going to say, did you, on your print with the Blu-ray, does it jump scenes, like kind of jump cuts a little bit on the DVD? So I'm guessing there was like a longer print.
It did that on the print I watched too.
I believe so. That's the Scorpion.
So was that 80 minutes then, Dan, is it? And
88 minutes is my print. So
mine was only 80. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. I watched it on Tubi, so it's like it was doing some jump cut shit too on there.
Yeah, I probably not the nudity apparently. So there's that.
Yeah.
As of now, as far as I'm aware, this Scorpion releasing disc is the best version out there. So it feels like something, maybe Kino at some point, unless they did and I'm just missed it, but I don't believe so. So check it out. I believe it's still in print. I don't think it's impossible to find or anything. So we will kick things off again, or continue things rather, with a slightly better known film next, and it is from 1989, and director Umberto Lenzi and/or James Justice. We'll get into that.
Right.
And it is Nightmare Beach, also known as Welcome to Spring Break. And if you're unfamiliar in this film, a shockingly gory tale of a madman in a motorcycle helmet who is taking out young co-eds all over the sparkling sands of South Florida during spring break. As the body count creeps up, Miami detective John Saxon tries to keep ahead of the curve in this carnage-packed slasher gem from the maestro of the macabre, featuring a rollicking score by Goblin's Claudio Simonetti and co-starring the late, great Michael Parks. So Nightmare Beach, I think both of you are fans of this one, if I'm not mistaken. So whoever wants to go first.
Michael Parks. I just got, since you mentioned Michael Parks, I just got to mention, he's great. He went on to work with Tarantino as a sheriff and From Dusk Till Dawn and Django Unchained and Kill Bill 1 and 2. He was in those. And I know I've seen him in the earlier stuff, but that's what I really know him from.
His career kind of had some ups and downs, but then he also, in addition to the Tarantino work that he did in the latter half of his career, he did a lot for Kevin Smith as well.
Okay.
Red State, one of his better movies, and Tusk, the Walrus movie. So,
that Dusk Till Dawn, him playing the sheriff, that's probably one of his best roles. Like just. And didn't he do the Grindhouse shit too? With the
he was, like I said,
and Rodriguez, some of those commercials or one of the films. I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember who he was exactly in that.
Something to do with the Grindhouse thing that Tarantino Rodriguez put out. But anyway, Nightmare Beach, man. What do you got to say? Boobs and blood and thongs in the mud. That's all I gotta say. Like, I mean, they got the dental floss G-string shit going on. Like, there's a wet T-shirt contest every damn 30 minutes. It seems like sometimes.
There's one of them in a lot of Lenzi films. There's one in Hitcher in the Dark as well, which is almost identical as well. I don't know, but I personally, I might surprise you, but I think this is probably, of all the Lenzi films I've seen, this is probably his worst. I think, and I think there's a lot of padding.
I think fun, you can tell that it's not all the way Lenzi too. Right?
Yeah. But that's debatable. I think Dan's probably got a lot of information on that. But it feels like a lot of little skits. Do you know what I mean? And like it's all put together in like this film, and it's got this weird kind of like, patchwork type.
From what I understand about Nightmare Beach is Lenzi didn't want to. He says he didn't want to do it because there's a trope that he had already done in another film. If I say what that is, I'm gonna spoil the damn film. So I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, I know the one you're on about.
But it's and it's weird because Shocker came out the year after this, right? And this gives me vibes of Shocker. Kind of.
That's what I've got written down.
Same year.
That opening scene does.
I've seen the copyright on this said 88, right?
Oh yeah, shot in 88. So released in 89, I guess, depending where.
I don't know who stole from who, but man, that shit seems very similar. Like
It's
Except
exactly the same.
one thing, you know, but I'm not going to say that either. But
the film as well, tonally, is all over the place because you've got that early scene, right, where that guy gets put to death, basically, you know, in the and then it comes on to this really like cheesy like pop song, "Naughty But Nice," which plays quite often through it.
yeah,
And you don't know whether you're in for like straight up, you know, at that opening scene, a straight up horror film or what. And then that song kicks in, and then you know it's just fun all the way. Then
it feels like one of them late night, you know, sex comedies and
yeah, it does. It really does.
Like,
yeah.
I think
skits going on.
Yeah, it's a very seasonal watch. Like it does put you into the summer mood.
Yeah.
To address the Lenzi thing, so Lenzi was originally hired, and now his claim is he stayed on as an advisor to Harry Kirkpatrick, who directed.
He said there was an actual Harry Kirkpatrick, right?
Yeah, and that gets a little confusing because Harry Kirkpatrick was a pseudonym for Lenzi, but the rumor is that James Justice did it. Now, there's no official word on this, but Italian film historian and author Roberto Curti, and if you're unfamiliar, some great books out there, but he claims that Lenzi did in fact direct the movie and refused to sign off, so he gave credit to Harry Kirkpatrick.
But some of it just don't feel like a Lenzi, though. Like in some of the scenes, like some of the sex comedies don't feel like Lenzi to me. I don't know.
Lenzi's had one hell of a career. I mean, he doesn't get the credit that he deserves for launching the cannibal genre with the Man from Deep River, and we've talked about him before. I mean, Tough Ones, Violent Naples, Almost Human, Syndicate Sadists, all those Polizioteschi films are stone
Spasmo,
right? Yeah, and the Giallo work. I mean, he did a lot of amazing movies, and you know, this is not only Lenzi's career decline period, but it's also the Italian film industry's decline period. And not that this feels particularly Italian because, you know, we're in Florida and
it don't feel like
so is it even really an Italian film? I guess that's debatable, but
I've read up like that he was basically in America at the time. I'm not sure if he was. I'm not sure what came first. Like Hitcher in the Dark may have been around the same time, and then he ended up doing this film because he was there, and apparently he knew it was so bad that, like the day, you know, the minute filming stopped, he just went back to America. He didn't say nothing to no one. Just went back to Italy. Sorry. So he kind of like disowned himself because he knew what a piece of shit the film was going to be. But it's different stories. You know?
Yeah, I think his reasoning that it was because he didn't want to repeat certain tropes and elements. There's a particular movie that I know you both know. That didn't stop him before. So I don't know if I totally buy that.
That blows my mind, though. That we're not going to mention the film, but the one is compared to blows my mind because they're so different. You know, one is.
I mean, I do understand that in a way, if that was the case, but
you maybe with the plot point, but it still blows my mind to even think of these two together.
I mean, it maybe you could say this does borrow from a few other films that he did, but at this particular point, Lenzi was just frustrated with his career in general. I know some people like Hitcher in the Dark and Black Demons and some of that stuff, but that's definitely at the end of his career, and he's looking to move on to write books at this point. So it might have been just a general frustration. You know, the Italian film industry was dead as can be at this point. Somehow, some way, Michele Soavi managed to come along and make some great movies, but they were few and far between.
I have got a question though, but how the hell did they get John Saxon to agree to do this?
Because he's probably like Lenzi. You know how like they all know each other pretty much. Like you know what I mean? Sure.
He did some Lenzi Pisteschi films, didn't he? But man, he must have realized within 10 minutes.
This is not a very strong role for Saxon either. Like
No, he
ain't-
hams it up. He hams it up, doesn't he?
It's
Really?
not really good.
All the way
I'm gonna
through.
tell you the worst is Sarah Buxton and the lead, Nicholas DeJoth. Is that his name? The guy who plays Skip Banachek.
Yeah.
That's the worst damn two. Like, his friends got way more personality. Like,
oh man, his friend was great.
Yeah.
When they killed him off early, that kind of pissed me off a little bit because,
yeah,
like, some of the lines he can make with his friend. 'cause
yeah, he's got that line.
Like every bit of pussy going by, he's like there, isn't he?
Yeah, he
He's
says,
winning
"How'd you
that,
like
which
that?
is kind of funny.
How'd you like that doing squats on your tool?" You know, that's
Yeah, that's a great line. Yeah, he's like
of,
that all the way. You know, all his scenes, mine. You know.
Yeah. And then he comes up.
Yeah,
he comes up to them one chicks and he's like, "You want to bump short hairs?"
Yeah.
It's great, but
yeah,
there's a funny little Easter egg in this movie too during the spring break scenes, which in true Italian fashion, they just shot stuff that was going on. But Paul Gleason, the legend, appears in this film. Principal Vernon himself has a blink and you miss it appearance in the movie as a announcer for the bikini contest.
Oh shit!
Okay.
Obviously did not know that he was in this. This is, kind of Die Hard era for him too, but I thought that was funny. I mean, there's some really bad acting and line delivery in this movie, but it doesn't really hurt it. It kind of plays to the dumb
I think so too. Yeah.
Sex comedy vibe that it has. It is a bit of a mess. I mean, there's a lot of subplots, the random pickpocket that's going around, and the hooker, none of which really pays off or goes anywhere.
Prostitute that
that blonde.
I'm just confused. Is I mean, like she basically has these guys eating out of her hand.
Yeah,
so, she's still giving them sex. I mean, we never know. I guess I don't know.
I mean, that's just in there as well, isn't it? It's not really a plot point or anything. It's just put in there, like
for
no reason.
Like, apart from manager,
Well, yeah. It's
and
just
then
crazy, man, some of the scenes.
It's just then you got another guy fucking playing pranks and shit.
I thought like the hooker. I thought the hooker thing was leading up to a joke where it's like she's not actually a hooker; she's something else.
Right.
So there is a lot of that where it does feel like, I don't know, some things weren't shot. Or
what's the point? Because at one moment she's a nurse, another moment she's a masseuse. Like she's like these different men, and is I don't know, man.
It always hurts when you have these great character actors like John Saxon and Michael Parks surrounding, actors that are in a much more minor league, and it does show here. But
Sarah Buxton, though, gosh damn, she is horrible.
Beautiful,
like she's beautiful, but she's
beautiful.
Sucks as an actress, and she was in that only. Was it Less Than Zero? That's the only movie I could see that out of her that I knew. But
worked for a long time, I believe. And the other thing about this movie, so that there's some good gore in this. There's not a lot of slashing per se, but it is, the kills are a little repetitive, but there's some solid makeup. It's fun. I mean, I will say for a beach slasher, I think The Slayer is a better one. I'm sure you guys have seen Slayer.
And I'm just trying to figure out the killer too. Like, I understand the motive and all, but he's talking about you have to die by electricity. And I was like, why? Like, what?
Yeah.
You never explain why. Like, why do they have to die?
I mean, in context of the film, though, the way the whole film is, I don't think we really need an explanation. Like,
right? I know it's just,
but you've got to love the cover as well, because I got it old DVD, and that's. Yeah. I mean, strip new for your killer. What have you done for your daughters?
That's the one I got.
The look of the killer.
Well, you bring up. Yeah, I've got it's on 4K now. Sorry, I laid my
Okay.
Blu-ray out of reach, but it is on 4K now as of this recording.
Right. I do like that cover actually. Somebody was giving it shit not long ago, but I like if you don't, I mean, look close where the dude's got the hand over the mouth of the chick.
Yeah, it's cool cover art.
A lot of people
I
don't
like
see
it.
that in the helmet, you know.
Yeah. I'm a fan of the cover art, and I believe it's the same for
this one. You got
4K.
some chick freaking out, and look. There's one scene where shit's lighting up, and you can. I swear to God, you can see the killer's face.
You can, yeah. I've noticed
his helmet,
well.
like it's blatant. I mean, it's like okay, right?
Because they obviously thought this was going to stay on like VHS. They had no idea that DVD or even even think DVD was in at that point, was it?
No. That's very pre DVD. And you mentioned John Saxon. He has definitely done worse. When I first started going to conventions in the 90s, he was a staple for Fangoria Weekend of Horrors. And I think I had at least a 20-minute conversation with him once about Hellmaster. So he's done much worse than Nightmare Beach. But you know what was always cool about him? He'd be willing to talk about him. Like he wasn't like annoyed if you brought up some obscure piece of crap that he did. It didn't have to be all of it.
I would have loved to talk to him about the girl who knew too much.
Yeah.
That'd have been great to talk to him about that shit. But
he was that early Weekend of Horrors wave of guys that were just class acts. I mean, him, Angus Scrimm, and Gunnar Hansen in particular. Those guys would sit and talk to you about anything, and you don't really have that anymore. But I should also point out that the supposed other director, whatever you want to believe there, James Justice, it's a real person. I mean, he existed. He also made a film called Lesser Evil, or wrote it in 2006. So we may never know. Lenzi's gone, but according to Roberto Curti, he's saying that it was Lenzi.
Well, even if Lenzi was still around, I mean, you still probably never know, because I mean, that's just the way he kind of, like he's not gonna. I don't know. He's been proven wrong on certain things, and like I remember a conversation he was having, saying that he treats all the actors great and shit, and like, no, I don't think so, man. Like from what I've heard, like, nah. But
right. The only Italian connection I got through this film was the soundtrack. Kind of, you can tell that there's some kind of Italian link to it, like Simonetti. I love all that shit.
And the bikers, the name of the bikers, Demons, and it's the same font, right? As
right, yeah, exactly the same. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Yeah, there's a couple of little nods in there that you can tell, but that same track, like the metal, like in it as well, I presume was just made up by Simonetti, because he does the same in I think it's like Opera or a couple of the other films that he's done. But the same track is by far the best thing, I think.
Yeah, it works.
You have a lot of double feature options with this one too. I mean, the Slayer, again, I think the better slasher.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah.
If you want to go a little crazy with it, you could even pair it with I Bought a Vampire Motorcycle, if you want to go for the biker exploitation side of it. And there's some fun kills, goofy but fun. I mean, the girl that gets electrocuted to a crisp on the back seat of the bike, and somehow that doesn't affect him. It's it's very silly, but it is fun. And again, kind of, I guess in some ways this is the shittiest episode we've done as far as the movies go, but they're not all bad. I mean, they both have things about it that I still think are very, very entertaining.
There's a lot of eye candy in that one too. Nightmare Beach.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, a lot of good eye candy.
Shot in Florida, got that whole Florida vibe going on.
It's very fast as well. It's like an MTV music video. It's just fast, and it always got your attention. It's not boring. That's one thing you could say about it.
You can kind of see, like, from Lenzi's perspective. I mean, we all love these movies, but if you look what he did a decade prior, or not even that long, you can kind of see where he would be a little bit demoralized at this point, because he really is. I mean, I think Lenzi's a fantastic director, and he's put out some amazing films cross genre too.
You want to measure this? If you want to measure this against another Lenzi film, I'd say that's in the same tone as, I'd say, pair it with Eyeball, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, maybe Close with Eyeball.
Yeah.
I would have said Hitcher in the Dark's got kind of the same vibe as well.
I'm just saying, like, before, though, like his actually better stuff. Like,
yeah.
Hitcher in the Dark is a shitty ending, man. I fucking hate
that's
it.
The only thing I didn't like about it. I mean, he did,
and I don't like the killer either. I think I'd slap the shit out of that dude. But,
right? Yeah. Like I say, he did Ghost House 2 years before. I mean, that's got a charm to it. I do like that film, even though technically you can't say it's very good. But
I thought about actually putting my alarm clock with that damn sound of the ghost or whatever.
Oh yeah.
What does it say? He says some shit like, I can't
There's some
remember.
creepy claims that, like, almost
some
like
shit he says. Are you up? Are you getting up? Or I don't know.
It's just repetitive and gets in your mind when you're watching the film over and over and over.
We're going off the rails here a little bit.
Oh, that's okay. We probably have to cover Black Demons at some point. Probably another one he's not as proud of. But...
I've not seen that, but I'd be up to watching that. Yeah.
I haven't seen that. I've seen House of Witchcraft though.
I've seen that.
I didn't mind House of Witchcraft.
There's not a lot that I hate. I mean, I'll be honest. Like,
he's got a ton, man. He's a genre, like several genres. I mean, we covered him pretty extensively like a while back.
Mm-hmm.
But I must have watched 60 of his fucking films. You know.
Yeah, and also the book.
Maybe a little less, but I've seen a lot of them.
I think you did about 30 in less than 2 weeks or something mad like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's, like I said, just dive through his filmography. It's worth it. The bad is few and far between. I mean, the Polizio Teschi stuff is all fucking amazing. So
yeah, that's his strong suit for sure. And his Jolly's not bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love his Giallos. Yeah.
I mean, you've got his cannibal films as well. You've got Ferox, which I love. Totally off the top of your heads, what's your top 3 Lenzi films? I don't know if Dirk can remember the list he did.
I gotta put Man from Deep River up there, man. It's damn good.
Yeah.
It's
one of
the best cannibal film. It really is.
It is, and it's funny, all of the through different special features on discs, how much feuding there was between him and Ruggiero Deodato over who started the cannibal genre, which was Lenzi.
It was
at the end of the day. I mean, Man from Deep River is great. I actually have the theatrical poster hanging in my library, so that's up there. But man, he's hard to rank because again, it's by genre.
Really damn good.
I like is great. Yeah,
it's a good one.
I mean, you got
Eating Lives, great. Fuck,
I love Spaz. Yeah, I love Spasmo.
Spasmo don't get no love, man. Like it's
Oasis of Fear.
That's probably in my top 2 or 3. I think it was in my top 2.
I can't say it's Nightmare Beach, but I do appreciate Nightmare.
Nightmare Beach is not in there, but I don't know, man. Like it's, I think it made my top 10, believe it or not. We did top 10. But I wouldn't say that now, though. I don't think so now.
Right? Yeah.
I think after watching it several times,
that was like
kind of changes a little bit. Like
probably at least half of the top 10 would have to be the Polizio Teschi stuff. I mean, it's hard not to.
Almost Human has got to be my number 1.
Yeah,
it's probably my number 1.
Yeah. I'm not a massive fan. I do like the film, but 7 Bloodstained Orchids.
Yeah,
I think Dirk feels the same. It's not.
That's probably number 2. A lot of people, now that you mentioned,
But for me, like I don't hit as well as like something. I know Eyeball's completely different type of movie. You know, it's just goofy and fun. But I prefer something like Eyeball. I prefer Knife of Ice. Seven Blood Single is highly regarded, but I don't see why. I just think
it's shot
slightly above average.
Amazing. The cinematography in it is fucking brilliant.
It's that lead guy, that Antonio Sabato.
I can't stand his ass at all. No,
he's awful, man.
Sabato or whatever.
Yeah, he brings it down a bit for me.
He's bland as shit. I can't stand him. But
well, we'll tackle some of these because again, Lenzi, there's a lot to dive into.
I'm still waiting on my damn House of Doom set, man.
That should be coming the end of the month, I'm hoping.
That one's kind of making me sweat a little bit, being that they're a newer company. I was like, man, it sure feels like they took a while to get me the other stuff, so I'm hoping Cauldron still delivers on that.
They've been out a couple years, though, right?
Yeah, I guess technically a couple years. I always just said those nerves, though, when it's not like a established company, if they just run into trouble and close up shop. I hope not, because I really want that set to come in.
I think Troy Howard said it's all done. It's all in, they basically sent the discs off and they're waiting to get the discs back now from the end of August. So by the time that hopefully, I guess sent out in the first 2 weeks of September, possibly. Well, that's the hope anyway.
In time for Halloween, I'm hoping I'll be good as long as I can dive into it by then. So gentlemen, what do you rate Nightmare Beach?
I gotta still give Nightmare Beach probably it's probably gone down a little bit on this last watch. So I think I had it pretty high. Not real high, but it's dropped down to probably a 6.5.
I'm a 6. I'm a 6.
I was originally a 6 when we did the stream before, but I think it's gone down to like a 5 for me. But it's not to say I don't like it, It's
just I think it's not the same, on rewatch. And I've seen it like 6 times now, and it's not getting any better. So
if you're going in expecting a storyline and plot and all that, then you're going to be really disappointed. But if you go in expecting just
how shitty the acting is from certain
just
people.
go in expecting a fun summertime slasher, I think you'll dig it. I think
you've never seen it though. I can't see that you'd be like, oh, this fucking sucks. I think you're gonna love it if you've never seen it.
I've heard people love this. I've seen a lot of streams.
First time I seen it, I was blown away. That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to quote. I don't want to quote anybody in particular, but I think I know of at least a few people on YouTube that have this in their top 10 slashers. So it is well regarded, and it's like I said, it's one of those ones you put on during summer, particularly when it's just starting to get nice out. It's there's more good than bad. But some of those subplots that go nowhere, that's the roughest part of the film. So all right, so that's Nightmare Beach. So guys, we're basically, at least in my opinion, already in Halloween season, and here on the DeadEnd Drive-In, we are going to have some gothic horror coming your way. We're also going to have a Barbara Steele show, hopefully with a special guest. I'm pretty sure we'll get this person on for the show. And as always, comment these videos. Let us know if there's something you want covered. We will be glad to. And and up on Flesh Wound Features, be sure to check out starting in October. The plan is we'll probably have content every day of October, at least something. And we're going to be kicking off our zombie tournament, which we did name, but I don't know if that's official yet, so I won't give that out. But we will be joined by Chris McGibbon of my Creep Show Radio from back in the day. For those of you that have followed me the last 15 or 16 years now, he will be on that, and that should be really, really interesting because there's some diverse opinions on these movies. So it'll be, I think, 16 or 17 zombie movies, and we'll see who survives. But what do you guys have coming up on Subjective Perspective Collective?
We got Yeah, actually, we got. So it's going to be a multi-stream, and of course we're not live, but so this coming Saturday, I say the 24th of August.
Okay.
We're doing a multi-stream with Dead Pit, but it's the debut show of Eurocrypt.
Eurocrypt. Okay.
So we're gonna have Jay Real on there with us. And,
awesome.
We're gonna be talking about Amityville 2, the Damiano film, and then Night Killer from 1990.
Ooh, that's a fun
one.
Yeah, and then Hell of the Living Dead. So, and he's never seen none of these, so we're just gonna see what it's kind of like. We're gonna see what Jay thinks about him. But
it's kind of cool. I mean, you know, a lot of us have grown up on these movies, but it's kind of cool to see a newbie and their reaction to it. You know, even some that we consider classics, they don't always see it the same way. So that should be interesting. Not saying Hell of the Living Dead's a classic, but I will maintain Bruno Mattei never made an unentertaining movie.
And I will go on record and say that Hell of the Living Dead is better than Dawn of the Dead.
No. Well,
I mean, yeah.
You guys already had some fights on that show, but
that was a controversial one, for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I love the score better too.
Well,
it's probably the same score. It's almost identical in parts as well. Which is funny.
Yeah.
Mattei wasn't shy about stealing, for sure. So yeah, check that out, guys, and we will see you back here next time on the Dead End Drive-In. Good night.